Hey guys, me and team here, and after a little bit of warming up, I'm bringing us back to a one-on-one diamond matchup. This time I'll be playing against Element, the red Protoss, and I will be me and team blue Zerg. Hooray! So, yeah, I feel like I've been polishing enough in team play where I can get some one-on-one games in without totally screwing myself over or relying on exclusively 6-pull or anything like that, because when you get maps like this, it's hard to 6-pull. I mean, if they just 12 gate and they play well, you're screwed. And as it turns out, Element is rated around 1100 something, like mid 1100s, whereas I'm just a little over 1000. So maybe 6-pulling isn't the best when you're reaching across a map. And oh, he actually went an earlier gate. So yeah, 6-pull. I love 6-pull. Don't get me wrong. But you really need to hit fast and hard with it, and it turns into a micro fast. And on longer reach maps, the defender just has an advantage. Let me see here. 6-pull, well, we'll keep an eye on the timer, but 6-pull hits a little bit after the 3-minute mark, usually. And we'll see how I could, oh yeah, he harasses me with his probe. That's cute. So I just scare that off. Now I am looking for proxy. This is important to do. People complain about proxy all the time, so you just stick your overlords out here. Have an eye on the ramp, have an eye on places where they might stick. Try to hide a pylon and a gateway, but he doesn't do that. He's just going home. And I did watch his drone leave. Anyway, we're on the 3-minute mark. He puts up a blocking cybernetics core. If he had scouted 6-pull, he'd be chrono boosting a zealot right now. And I would have very little time. It would be iffy if I could even get to the ramp and get into his base before the zealot spawns. But either way, it would be dicey. Anyway, I do get a drone through his choke. It's kind of hard to stop a drone from getting through his Protoss choke. And once again, I'm just doing this. This is this is the low APM non-pro version of annoying people in their base with your workers by moving them around constantly to scout. But, seeing that he went Cyber Core before our second gateway, which I also see another gateway, I feel safe to tech the lair. I know he doesn't have anything. I'll be able to put a unit here to see him coming, so I won't have a repeat of that loss I had where someone just 4-gate pushed me and owned me instantly while I was trying to tech the mutas. So I feel a little bit more confident droning up, too. Come on, inject, noob. Okay, there we go. Excellent. Third gateway, I still have my drone in here, so I do pick that up, and I get killed by a stalker. So yeah, even this late in the game, he really doesn't have much. And I throw down a Hydralisk then. And lately I've been liking Hydralisks a little bit more than I used to. The tank nerf helps them, although not in this matchup. The Zealot nerf does help them, actually. So that's nice. But also Stalkers, they just don't have the DPS to match up to Hydralisks, and they only do 10 damage per shot, and they're almost twice as slow. And with the Hydralisk range upgrade, the Hydralisk can match them for range as well. Yeah, you can get screwed over by force field, but it's just a matter of where you're matching up. So I build up a couple Hydralisks. Interesting that my opponent goes for Stargate and Phoenix. I'm not sure how I see that. Oh, I built an Overseer and scouted and saw Stargate and even saw the Phoenix. So I know this is coming. And I was fortunate to have gone Hydralisk because Phoenix harass can be really terrible against Zerg. They can hit your overlords and kill masses of your overlords. They can lift your queen off the ground and screw you over that way. But in this case, he's forced to just run away. Well, he can and probably will kill this overlord, or he can just keep running. Okay. He probably should have taken out my overlord, but whatever. But at least I could keep him from really hurting my overlords by putting some Hydralisks underneath them. So I was able to bunch up and avoid any major damage from Phoenix harass. He does keep getting Phoenix. I throw my Overseer into the base here to scout him out. And here I get a good picture of everything, including that he's a little thin on the forces because he went for the yearly Stargate. So seeing that, I'm going to want to push out and try and see what I can do against his base. I mean, just look at this. This has only got a couple sentries, 3 zealots, and 2 stalkers, and his phoenix will not be very useful against this. So in terms of army, let's see. Well, we're similar. But, realistically, I'm pretty ahead in terms of what I can do here. So I decided to push out. He's ahead of me in the worker count, which is a little bit surprising. I don't know, I'm not doing too badly. I have more gas limited than mineral limited anyway. So I'm okay to be under that a little bit. And yeah, I get to pull some harass here. This is kind of fun. Just push up the ramp with ranged, harass. Not something you see from Zerg very often, so probably caught my opponent off guard to some extent. Let's take a look at the units lost resources. He's actually a little bit ahead of me, so that's no good. And this is just going to turn out to be a nightmare, because he's got, this ramp choke, which is ever annoying to me. And I don't see any way to bust it right at this moment. But, he's not really causing me much damage either, so I'm going to see what I can do in terms of picking things off. Get a pylon. Turns out not to supply lock him. Put up a lot of damage on his Phoenix. Not that that makes a big difference either. But really, we're talking pretty even exchange here. I mean, 75 resources from one side to the other. Still a very close match. Very close in terms of supply. So this 3-gate with Phoenix thing, it probably would have worked better if I didn't go Hydralisk, because that was kind of a questionable move on my part, but it worked out well. And I want to get a Cyber Core, but I just can't do it. All the stuff's right here. So yeah, this is around the point where I decide, okay, I'm going to cut my losses, back off. Take a look at the production here. And this is when I decide to go Pneumatize Carapace. And also, well, once I get the money for it, Ventral Sacks. Thinking maybe I could get past the ramp with, a quick drop. Just like load up there, drop there. Nothing special. Just get into his base. Probably not the smartest idea. I'll have to rethink that in the future. Oh, come on. The macro is terrible. What are you doing? There we go. Well, I get to spend some of that money on Ventral Sacks anyway, so it's not as far behind as I thought it might be. Now he's pretty well transitioned to straight up gateway. I mean, he's getting a 4th and 5th gateway. He's working the rocks over. That's the other thing. Okay, that makes more sense now that I'm thinking about it. When I was playing this game, I was thinking, okay, maybe he's going to try to secure an expansion. And if I have Ventral Sacks, I can either drop Hydralisks to be annoying there, or just, drop right here and take out his expansion and cause him all kinds of grief. So that's what I was thinking there. Now, curiously, he pushes out here. Not quite sure what's going on with that. So, yeah. Pretty dead set on the APM. I do catch this. I actually sent a Zergling thinking he might expand here. I don't know why I thought that, since the rocks are a much easier expansion to secure, given the pressure that I was putting on him. But oh well. Drop a expansion on my own here, which again there probably would have been a better call, but oh well. Not a big deal since I've been on the aggression this whole match. Moves up to 95 supply. I'm actually at 85 supply. So now I'm actually behind. But one thing I am ahead on is upgrades, especially on the Hydralisks. 0.83, range 6, 13 damage. So I've actually invested quite a bit into the upgrades for my Hydralisks. I didn't really get anything on the Zerglings. They're just kind of a mineral dump. And probably should have gotten speed, but I did not. And oh my. Okay, so go ahead and pause this here. I am sitting on 95, 97, so this is a pretty even matchup in terms of supply. And as you can see, I've been playing off one base Zerg, so this is why I was saying that, maybe one base Zerg isn't as weak as people have been claiming. I've moved out my overlords here, trying to set up the drop, but instead he pushed out, so I'm just going to fight him. and he picked the worst place to fight me. This was just not a good place to fight me, because I have all this room for a big concave, and that's going to push him back. Also, he lost a lot more than me. I finally gained an advantage in the units lost department. And actually, since I killed off a lot of his units, rather than dropping, it occurred to me that I could just use these guys for cliff sight. And the range of the hydralisks could cause him problems just because he's blocking his own units with his buildings with this ramp choke. So now that I don't have really weak melee anymore, I can start picking at his base, and he has to run down the ramp to attack me. Otherwise this is reasonably equal, although it looks awful. It's a reasonably equal fight. He's trying to wall me off with the ramp, but I'm just shooting uphill. And this isn't like the old Starcraft where you miss a good percentage of the time doing that. As long as you have line of sight, it seems like you can fight effectively here. So now he's really getting his units bunched up, and I have a favorable position fighting uphill into his ramp choke. Essentially, his buildings here are acting as if they're a force field in my favor, and that's really causing him problems. So now I push up, and now he's in trouble. I just find that so amusing that I was able to use his own ramp choke to force field him, essentially. It's just comedy. And yeah, now he's really behind on the resources lost. He doesn't have any Colossi, he doesn't have Psystorm, anything that could actually do anything to the Hydralisks. And he has more APM than me, hey! And he calls us both noobs, but whatever. And this is a game between two people rated over 1,000 in Diamond League, so we're not that bad. It's just a little bit of unconventional play, and in this case it worked out pretty well, because he didn't have the counters for it. So that will be good game. Me and team signing off.